Due to a catastrophic high-speed car accident that occurred just outside of Huntsville, Alabama, Martell Holt is currently in a medically induced coma.
Sadly, we are following two tragic breaking news stories tonight.
First, a terrible crash. Deputies say an SUV collided with an ATV are in critical condition tonight. The driver of the SUV was not seriously hurt.
According to emergency personnel, it was one of the worst wrecks they had ever seen. The entire front end of his luxury SUV was crushed beyond recognition when it crashed into a concrete barrier. People thought it was just another tragic accident at first, but the facts don't add. 2 days ago, on a peaceful section of highway outside of Huntsville, Alabama, everything began. Martell Holt was operating his luxury performance SUV when everything abruptly changed. Early reports state that his car collided with a concrete barrier so violently that emergency personnel claimed the front end was totally destroyed. The debris no longer resembled an automobile at all. Martell was hauled out of the twisted metal and taken to the closest medical facility. Additionally, despite the fact that he is currently unconscious and in a medically induced coma, doctors are constantly keeping an eye on him. Fans, family, and friends have been waiting impatiently for him to succeed. But the thing is, first responders immediately noticed something strange when they arrived on the scene. The road had no signs of emergency brakes, thus there was no sign that Martell made an effort to slow down or steer clear of any objects. There were no hints on the road itself either. In broad daylight on a level, unobstructed highway, how does an experienced driver like Martell lose total control of his car without even applying the brakes? What if, however, I told you that this was not merely a terrible accident, but rather the beginning of a tale that nobody suspected? As investigators continue their investigation, more warning signs appeared. First, there were instant suspicions due to the total absence of skid marks. Martell's SUV didn't slow down at all, which is unusual because even in unexpected crashes, there is usually some effort to stop or react. Authorities began to wonder if this was truly a solo crash based on that fact alone. And then there is the car's state. The damage was different from what is usually seen in a one-car collision. It was one-sided and smashed inward, as though something heavy had purposefully struck it or pushed it. This type of impact is only possible when another force is at play. Remember, this was a broad, open highway, not some obscure back road with poor visibility. Naturally, investigators began looking through video from surrounding businesses and traffic cameras to piece together what happened before the crash. And just when investigators believed things couldn't get any stranger, surveillance footage introduced a new mysterious character. Prior to the collision, several cameras captured Martell's SUV moving smoothly through the city. But this is what truly grabbed their interest. The black Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon was always directly behind Martell's car when it was captured on camera. It was following him all the time, not just in passing, but not far away. That same G-Wagon remained parked behind Martell's car for at least 15 minutes without moving. It never got lost in the flow or strayed too far behind, maintaining a perfect pace while swerving in and out of traffic when necessary. It appeared as though someone was following him because that type of movement was deliberate rather than haphazard. There was more than one camera angle too. All of the footage that was shot before the crash showed the G-Wagon. Identical car, identical distance, identical conduct. Minutes before the collision, the G-Wagon vanished from view of the camera along with Martell's SUV. You know what? The actual scene of the crash was not directly covered by any security camera. What happened next then wasn't captured on video. However, the fact that he was being followed by someone is making investigators wonder about everything. Investigators were running low on leads when a woman came forward with information that completely changed the course of events. Since what she saw matches the timeline in the surveillance footage, her account has been taken seriously, even though she didn't want her name to be made public. When it occurred, she claims to have been a few cars behind the black G-Wagon and Martell's SUV. Everything appeared normal at first, she said, until the G-Wagon abruptly swerved sharply and quickly sideswiped Martell's car. Martell's SUV, she claimed, abruptly swerved to the side, lost control, and crashed into the concrete barrier. The sound was described by the witness as an explosion. It was that powerful of an impact. She was so agitated that she nearly stopped herself. What surprised her even more, though, the G-Wagon continued. There was no slowing down. It did not look for any damage. It continued moving quickly and was out of sight in a matter of seconds. Here's the most terrifying information. The G-Wagon didn't have a license plate, she claimed. Nothing, neither on the front nor the back, which is uncommon, particularly for such an expensive car. It appeared to be deliberate rather than merely negligent. Her statement, which seemed to indicate that she didn't want to be found, gave the investigation a significant boost because it was no longer only a question of whether something went wrong. Now it was the person who caused the problem. The real twist was that who owns that G-Wagon? That was already astounding. Drama immediately entered familiar territory when an anonymous tip came in at that point. Apparently, Marcel Scott recently bought a black G-Wagon. According to the tip, investigators moved swiftly, and although no formal charges have been brought, sources claim Marcel was held for interrogation, not arrested, but enough to spark intense speculation. Questions were also raised by the G-Wagon's purchase timing. Right, according to rumors, the missing plates are because it was only purchased a few weeks ago and wasn't yet fully registered. In an effort to determine whether the vehicle is the same one that fled the crash scene, authorities are currently looking through ownership records. Supporters have been making connections between Martell's crash into the G-Wagon and the absence of plates. The name of Marcel is now abruptly mentioned. From drama television to a real-life mystery, the tension simply changed. This is where things become painful and personal because Marceau and Martell were more than just co-stars. Marceau and Martell have a long history together. Before the cameras and the spotlight, these two were actual friends and business associates.
Not a kid.
But ain't nobody talking about a kid, though.
She said very clearly, she's talking about the wife. She's not talking about the children.
No, she said child. She said child.
She said child. She said child.
So
she said Martell needs a DNA test.
Martell needs to go get a blood test.
That's what I didn't hear.
Why are you talking about it then?
If you want to mention somebody other than who you talking to, I think I'm talking about what I want to say. Hey, man, get your hand down. Get your hand down. Get your hand down.
In addition to laughing and building together, they briefly had each other's backs, both on and off screen. However, once Love and Marriage Huntsville was exposed for the cheating allegations, things began to fall apart. The group was already tense because of Martell's highly public appearance. Subsequently, rumors began to circulate that Marceau might have had his own covert affairs, side relationships, and late-night behavior, which raised questions about his own marriage.
Because I know several women you've been with.
Right.
I know several women you've been with.
So here's the difference.
And I would suggest you stop talking so much about my. What made you lose respect for me? Because what you're saying right now isn't even true. So I'm up here telling you what the truth is, and you still say that you have no respect for me. So I'm saying, okay, it must be something deeper.
Martell threw shade. He did not hold back. After Marceau returned the clap, the once friendly banter turned sour and bitter. According to production sources, the atmosphere on set drastically changed. The once brotherhood began to resemble a Cold War. Passive-aggressive taunts during group scenes and arguments off camera were reported. Some even expressed fear that during filming, a physical altercation might occur. In recent weeks, their silence had become louder, and their friendship never really recovered. Was there a plot of retaliation simmering off camera long before the collision?
Lot to say in all your interviews.
I don't have a lot to say.
Every time he opens his mouth and says something about Marceau, he gonna be talking about.
I never said about you. What you talking about?
Marceau knows about Martell, and Martell ain't gonna like that. About Martell, his family, what's going on, and all this stuff.
But the question was,
I know about you.
His text
Your
messages,
family?
his
What?
text messages, all this stuff he sent to me about his girl, about who his girl's
Who
messing
is
with.
my girl? I don't have a girl.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I ain't had a girl in 4 or 5 years. I go get my phone. You bring out your bring out my.
what the hell is about to happen here?
So fans are beginning to believe. Social media exploded when Marcel's crash and Marcel's name began to trend. The public didn't hold back. Theories began to overflow timelines. The surveillance stills screenshots were being contrasted with vintage images of Marcel's G-Wagon. Suddenly, people were demanding answers rather than merely inquiring as to what had happened. A fan wrote on Twitter, "This wasn't a coincidence. Martell's renewed vigor made Marceau envious. This seems strange in some way." Another user commented, "That Keck G-Wagon was hunting, not just following."
You weren't doing that.
There's nothing that Martell's gonna bring out the phone. That's actually gonna show.
It is.
Show what you gotta show.
Show it.
Show it. Show what you gotta show.
You show it.
No.
Oh,
You got your woman
I'm about
too.
to go.
He the one talking about my family. What the
Show what you got in your phone.
You show what you was talking about. What you
I'm
talking
talking
about?
between me and you. Yeah.
This is a conversation between me, you, and her.
Okay, show it.
Please show it.
Show
Please
it.
show it.
Somebody
Dude,
please show it.
Show it. I don't care. I don't
Why
want
you-
the
why you
business.
talking to me
7
then?
years
Hey,
ago,
hey,
you was
hey,
like,
why you talking
we
to me?
got proof. I said, show your proof.
Hey, still
We
ain't
ain't got
got
no proof. Don't hold this over my head. Hey, I got something.
Why hasn't Marceau been taken into custody yet? Not only that, but Instagram comment sections were overflowing with statements such as, "Bone better not try to sweep this under the rug." If you rewatch this season, you can see the tension between them. Despite their audacity, the accusations are becoming more and more vocal every day. To force law enforcement and media organizations to look further, some fans even began tagging them. Despite all of this noise, one thing is evident: Martell is currently unable to speak for himself, and the silence is deafening. Enforcement of the law is not ignoring the situation. According to people familiar with the case, detectives are currently looking over the GPS logs for both Martell's and Marceau's cars. They are attempting to verify whether the G-Wagon from the surveillance footage corresponds to the one that Marceau owns by comparing routes and timestamp. In order to look for pings from Marceau's phone during the crash, they have also collected cell tower data from the surrounding area. They will be able to tell if his phone was in that car or close by.
You know that Martell, no, we've done. It just make me feel that you don't care about your marriage.
No, Martell, we don't care about your words. So, feel free.
For what?
Because you think that you have something that can damage my marriage.
Oh no, I don't care if it damage your marriage or not.
Please
I don't
try.
care. I don't. It
Please
ain't even
try.
about trying.
I'm begging you.
It just I beg you
no,
time and time again
no, my thing is
to
that
hush.
I'm not going to hush. I'm not going to tread lightly.
You just let me know.
Right.
You let everybody know how
Right.
slow your wife is,
Yeah,
bro.
right.
More surveillance footage, this time from nearby residences and businesses near the crash site, is also being reviewed. They intend to follow the G-Wagon's path both prior to and following the collision. And perhaps the most significant item that investigators are currently looking at is Marceau's car. They are searching for any indications of a collision, dents, scratches, or paint transfer that would correspond with Martell's SUV, according to sources. Anything they discover could change the course of the entire inquiry. The cloud surrounding Marceau is getting darker every hour. Even though he is still free to move about, OWN has said absolutely nothing about the collision. No updates, no statements, not even a simple post with some thoughts and prayers. Production behind the scenes is rushing. Filming is halted. Members of the cast are split. Some people wish to speak up and support Martell. Others are avoiding contact out of concern that saying too much might backfire in the event that the situation becomes legal. Remember that this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville was already getting hotter. Marceau and Martell's tensions were at an all-time high on camera. These unresolved issues are now the main focus of real life. Will the truth be revealed on the show, or will producers decide to keep this story off the screen? That is the main question on everyone's mind. For one thing is certain, whatever occurs next has the potential to alter not only the cast, but also the series' overall course. We are left with fragments of a puzzle. A mystery car, a coma, explosive fallout, and a man who may have been pushed too far. The truth exists, but it is hidden beneath layers of loss, deception, and loyalty. And there's only speculation until Martell wakes up. What do you believe transpired that evening, though? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and remember to hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist in this tale.